This video is about financial decolonization, the India way. The current system of finance and economics is heavily Western-centric. Financial settlement mechanism uses a Western ecosystem that is the SWIFT payments. SWIFT stands for Society for Worldwide Interbank Financial Telecommunications. Pricing of goods and services is determined using the dollar-based single world reserve currency system. This methodology works in favor of the US and its allied countries and works against the non-Western countries. But this system is becoming less dominant and alternative systems are being worked upon. Leaders from major countries are working together in a coordinated effort and introduce an alternative digital financial infrastructure for cross-border settlements. These efforts will lead to the financial decolonization. I strongly believe that the emergence of an alternative financial system offers many opportunities, especially for India and Indians. But before I start talking about the opportunities, allow me to share some of my personal experiences as a finance professional. In 2008, during the subprime crisis and global financial crisis, I was working with Lehman Brothers, Investment Management Division, India operations. In 2012, when the euro crisis was at its peak, I was working with Deutsche Bank AG, Global Transaction Banking India. Of course, I was just a financial analyst and not privy to senior-level management insights. But I did get to know many things being discussed on unofficial and informal channels. I observed a pattern of how a serious crisis was emerging every 4 years. In 2016, I was prepared to track this pattern evolve and was closely watching the US elections. Before the official counting of votes finished, there was a moment when the US media unofficially declared that Donald Trump could be the next president. Incidentally, this was the exact same moment when the Indian mainstream media was covering a news that PM Modi had announced demonetisation on 8 November 2016 8 p.m. Indian Standard Time. This did not seem like a coincidence to me and I realized that another seismic shift should come in 2020. And it did, COVID and the year of DeFi, or decentralized finance. In 2024 many countries went through the electoral process including us in India. Indian elections was the largest exercise of electing a democratic leader in the whole world. We Indians elected PM Modi as a global leader albeit with a coalition government. And interestingly in 2024 we talking about de-dollarization. Contrasting 2024 with the 2016, India has journeyed from demonetization to de-dollarization. What I intend to discuss in this video is based on my personal experience and my understanding of finance and economics. Ideally, it should resonate strongly with people from the finance and economics domain. However, people are free to agree, disagree, offer a counter perspective. You are also free to criticize and abuse. Another important point I would like to emphasize. There are many analysts and experts voicing their opinion on mainstream media and social media. I always make it a point to try to reach out to them and ask them a question based on my life experience. For example, a simple cue asking the connection between demonetization in Indian economy and 2016 US presidential elections will help me decide if I need to listen to the analyst's opinion or not. There is nobody from mainstream media who has addressed that question of mine. However, in social media I found very few people who acknowledged the connection between these two global events. Dr. Ankit Shah is one such person whose words resonated with my life experiences. Anybody from the finance domain, whether you are a college student, certified degree holder, senior level management personnel, entrepreneur, you should be listening to his views and introspecting on how finance and economics is changing. Whether you agree or you disagree with Ankit is entirely your decisions. People who listen to Dr. Ankit Shah's analysis and keep an eye out for his predictions will be able to relate better to the financial decolonization initiatives. Highly recommended that people follow Ankit on X and listen to his extensive talks published on YouTube. Now, coming back to the changing financial system, let us understand the role of blockchain technology. Blockchain technology is digital ledger which records transactions securely. The distributed ledger technology, DLT, replicates the transactional data across a network of computers. It uses a decentralized network framework for operation. These transactions are validated by all the network participants. As opposed to centralized systems, the data being distributed and validated across many computers in the networks makes it impossible to tamper the transactions or data. The basis of blockchain is the Merkle tree, which was conceptualized in 1979. Blockchain concept evolved in 1991 when a white paper titled How to Time-Stamp a Digital Document was published by Stuart Huber and W. Scott Stornetta. This research paper further contributed to the practical application of blockchain technology. In 2008, during the global financial crisis, Bitcoin, a cryptocurrency operating on a blockchain network, emerged as an alternative store of value. Remember these 3 years which were critical in the evolution of blockchain: 1979, 1991, and 2008. These years have a connect to de-dollarization. While blockchain is a technology, cryptocurrencies and digital assets are practical applications of this technology. People might have heard of many cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Tron, Solana, Avalanche, etc., etc. These cryptocurrencies operate on independent blockchain networks. Bitcoin functions on a Bitcoin blockchain, Ethereum token uses the Ethereum blockchain, Tron works on the Tron network, and it goes on. Although each of these blockchain networks are unique and distinct from each other, users from one network can transact using digital tokens on another network. Each blockchain network uses a consensus mechanism to validate transactions in the distributed digital ledger. Many blockchain networks are interoperable. This means that a user from Ethereum network can send his cryptocurrencies to the Tron network and user from Avalanche network can transact with the Solana network. All of these cryptocurrencies and digital tokens gained popularity because of Bitcoin's perceived value. It is important for listeners to understand that cryptocurrencies inherently don't have any utility or value. They only have perceived value, that means its price fluctuates because people think it has value. There is no physical asset or product which backs the cryptos. It is exactly similar to the unpegged fiat dollar but in digital format. Former Indian RBI Governor Shaktikanta Das and the current Principal Secretary to the Prime Minister of India has referred to cryptocurrencies as a national security threat in many of his speeches, within India as well as abroad. He used the terminology, private cryptos, to refer to cryptocurrencies and digital tokens. In a recent report, the BPMC-7, published by the International Monetary Fund or IMF, also classified cryptos as non-financial asset. An unregulated and unpegged privately issued digital token cannot be allowed as a medium of transaction within the national or international economy. People who have invested in such private cryptos based on their perceived value should realize that money is being drained out of the Indian economy and is being diverted to an unregulated network operating out of our sovereign territory. In such a scenario, monitoring the network and safeguarding the investors will be next to impossible for the Government of India and our banking regulators. In my personal opinion, I would choose to listen to the former RBI Governor's views any given day over the opinions of an American tech CEO like Elon Musk. Also, if Pakistan is considering a strategic Bitcoin reserve, Indians should realize that terror funding will be financed through Bitcoin network. Hopefully this explains why private cryptos are a national security threat. With this understanding of blockchain technology and its application, let us try to understand what is CBDC.